Hey everybody, Josh with J&M Web Creations back with a new video for you. This time we're talking about custom post types and just post types in general with WordPress. If you are a designer or developer, this definitely could help you. It can save you some time and it can help you to make things that your clients are able to easily put in content to show up a certain way that's basically templated. So the first thing is, what is really a post type? WordPress, when they started in 2003, was much more of a blogging platform. It wasn't really for making websites for businesses and stuff like that. So each thing was called a post type. You have your main one, you obviously know, is blogs and blogging. And when you go onto your site, you can make a new post, a new blog post, and then you might have a page, which is more of a static type things where you just make a certain page. It's not connected to any other of the pages or anything. But blog posts are more of categorized and can be put in certain ways and can be shown with the newest one first, where page is essentially a one-off thing that you want to stay that way. You don't want it to be as much templated. It's going to be exactly how you want it. Instead of just putting a little bit of information, it shows up like you might see in a blog post. But with that being said, the actual post types are there are some standard ones, and then you can make your own. Why is that valuable? Building your own post types can be extremely valuable because you can essentially, if you needed two different blogs on one website, you could do that. You could have two blogs. You also could just use your standard blog posts and categorize them and show them up a certain way. If, say, you wanted testimonials on your site or your customer site, and your customer once says, oh, I want to be able to put the testimonial in myself real easily. I just want to be able to put their name, their title, and the actual testimonial, something like that. You can do that with a post type, a custom post type of, say, testimonials, and then you can add a new post, or actually in that case would be add a new testimonial, and then you can make it show up how you want for those testimonials. The actual custom post types I didn't even really know about for a couple of years after, actually many years after working with WordPress, because I wasn't building sites really, I was doing my own stuff. But after I was actually building sites, I didn't even really understand them until probably at least 2 to 3 years after I started building websites, even after selling some of them. But now that I understand it, it can actually make things a lot easier and things a lot quicker and things much more user-friendly for your clients. So let's kind of real quick go into what they are right now, the standard ones in WordPress. And so we'll see here on the WordPress site we have post types. It tells us what the post types are. There's a few different ones. I even in my blog post put some other ones. Post and page are like your two main ones you see in there. You will have a blog post, and you can add new posts, stuff like that. Your page is a type of post that's kind of a one-off post, essentially. There's attachments, which you'll usually see attachments as media, essentially, your media stuff. And what you actually attach to pages, which is a lot of time images or a PDF or something like that. These other ones, really like revision, is you can revise a page. You'll have different revisions within a page, and if you do something wrong, make a mistake, you can go back to that old one. So it essentially saves it within the database as a post type. Navigation menu is obviously your menu on your site, where you'll usually use it in a header, footer. There's a whole system within there that you've probably seen menu. That is a post type as well. Block templates, template parts. I don't even think I put those two in my main one, but there are some other types that they don't necessarily have on here, but they have other places. Like the CSS can be a type, and few other little things that you really don't need to worry about. So we have those kind of understanding of those post types. In the post types, there's taxonomy, which would be your categories and stuff. You can tag them kind of more like categories, but you have taxonomy, archive, author, date. Some of those are different files within that. You have a single post. In the page, you really don't have much because you want them not to be categorized, really. You want them to just be there on their own. You can parent pages as well, so that might be something you might do, but mainly, like you see here, page, your front page, your home page, a search and an index, which actually a lot of times your search will find everything in your blog post as well as your pages, so they are in that area. Attachments, again, these are kind of the information about that. And then custom post types, and that's really what we're talking about, because you can do stuff with the standard post types, but normally you're going to want to create your own post type for some certain thing, whether it's testimonials, it could be some kind of portfolio that you're doing. On my website, I have it as websites. So each time I finish a website, what I'll do is I'll go take a image of that website. I'll use the featured image part as that image. Then in mine, I also have custom fields. So usually you'll see the publish area. You'll see the, let's say, the category, possibly. You'll see the image, the featured image there on the right, and then in the middle, if you're using the classic builder, which I actually like because I use it easier, you could be using Gutenberg also, but I usually use the classic editor. You'll see just a big area of a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get area. You can put in your info, your text, picture, whatever, or you could be using the Gutenberg, which gives you some more flexibility. So that's usually what you'll see, especially if you're making a post. You can just, in the classic editor, put in your information here, your title up here, which would be the title of the page as well as like the URL, and then maybe your picture, and maybe pictures within the blog post. With a custom post type, let's say we want it to have the be a testimonial. Or let's say it's the website one that I have. So it's the websites that I have on my site. What I might do is actually have the title as my H1 on the page. So my title is going to be whatever that business was called. So the one I just did recently was the Last Dance Ranch. So I may call it the Last Dance Ranch. And then I may have some information about it, but I may also have in there, after the featured image, I may have something like what I did for this person, like a real short thing that I can use as a separate field in there. Or maybe if you have a testimonial, it might be you might use the top URL, the main title as the name, but then you may use a title of the person, like they're an owner and what business they are. You can actually add a different field there for those type things, and it might say title, and you pop that in real quick, and it puts it the same place every time on those testimonial pages or those let's say website pages. So here I'll show you how that looks and what you can do with that. But first we need to actually know how to add that in, add a new post type for your site. So here's, if you really want to do it on your own, you want to do it through the functions.php, or you're building a plugin, something like that. This is essentially what you're going to need to put in. This would be like the name of it. In this case, with these guys, they were doing books. It's a list of books, maybe, and some information about books, maybe what year it was made in, or written in, how many pages, something like that. And they may even have a price, let's say, if they're kind of shown off. And they may have a link to go to it on Amazon or something. But there's a lot of stuff you can add in here. As you can see, the name is going to be books. That'll be on the left side of your website, like over here. You'll sometimes see those. Like projects is like a post type as well. That's kind of the same. And then you'll have add books, add new, different stuff, edit. You kind of see that when you're in, let's say, post, all posts. So right there is going to be, sorry, I'm going the wrong one. Like an add new post. Right there is actually what it is. All posts would actually be that area. So you're putting in the information you want it to, how you want to show up in your menu, and where you want it to show up in your menu, which would be down here. This one doesn't show it, but something like this would have menu position. Lower you put on there, I believe. The higher it gets, I could be wrong, it may be the opposite way. If you put a lower number, it goes higher. If you put a higher number, it goes lower. I believe that's what it is. So that is an option. There are a lot easier ways. So if you don't want to run a plugin, this is probably the way to do that. I'll have a link for this right here. It's developer.wordpress.org/reference/functions/register_post_type. And that'll get you there, and there's a pretty good overview of that, but it is still complicated. So really, I usually do it, just makes it so much easier, is to just add a plugin for it. They're pretty minor plugins. If I'm just doing a post type, nothing else, I might use custom post type UI. Normally, when I build websites, I build them in Divi. So actually the best one for Divi is called Divi Machine, by the Divi Engine company. And they do a really great job with that plugin. But if you want to just make a new custom post type, this is a great option right here. Also, I've used pods in the past. The Divi Machine that I use is kind of like a pod, but it's for Divi, and it uses also advanced custom fields with that, and uses their free version and puts it together. Pods allows you to also do different fields. So like I was saying, if you have a you want a title of the person that you're making the testimonial about, so it shows a little field and you can just type in their title, owner, whatever that is. That would be your custom fields within a blog post. So I'll just show you real quick kind of how this works. We have the custom post type UI. We'll just use that real quick. We'll install that. So basically I just put in custom post type over here, and there's a couple good ones. I haven't used this one, though it looks like a lot of people do like that as well. So we'll just go ahead and activate this. And now here's the information for the CPT, is usually what it's shortened to. Add post type is all you want to do. Post type slug. The slug is going to be basically the URL. So let's just kind of do what they were doing over here. They were doing let's just do a recipe one. So recipes, or recipes, sorry. This is going to ask you for plural label if it's recipes. A recipe, plural would obviously be recipes. Then we have over here recipe, singular, that's just what it is. Post type description, this is to add recipe post type to our site. Okay, so we got that. Let's go then with menu name. We'll just call it like that. Pretty easy. My recipes, all recipes. We're just kind of going down, and they easily have it here for you. Oh, here's add new, that kind of stuff. Add new, we'll just call it that. Add new recipe. Edit recipe. New recipe again. Actually, it was just, instead of add new, this one's just new recipe. So this is putting all the stuff in here like this right here. view recipe. There are some, and actually, let's see, Divi Machine actually makes it easier. They actually, essentially, after you put in recipe here, they fill this in for you. So it may be easier to go with something like that. I think possibly the other one, Pods, does as well. View recipe, view recipes. Though this one doesn't look like it fills. Search recipes. No recipes found. So it's really easy, just basically filling it in. No recipes found in trash. Let's see. This one does tell you it needs a colon, so we just call this one parent recipe. This is if you had a child recipe off of that in your categorization, basically. Basically, these other ones you may not need to do because they would be featured image anyway. You might do this one that's recipe archives. Insert into. These are kind of things that are, do you need to do those or not? You may not need to, but I'm just going to go in, basically do that right there. There's some other information here, public, if you want people to be able to search them and see them. These are some other things right here you can do or not. If you want them to show in the navigation menus, you can. You would have to obviously add them in your nav menus. Exclude from search. If you don't want them to be able to search, you can put that as true. There's quite a few things, and most of this I normally don't mess with. Sometimes you might want here the menu position, and here's actually, it's telling you available options essentially, so it's going to give you some information. Okay, so the lower the number, the higher it's going to be. If I wanted my thing to show recipes right below posts, then it looks like I would use 5. All the way down here, there's below plugins. We'll just put it below posts for now, so we're just going to go with 5. I don't know what the standard is, what it does by itself. You can also use an icon, which is kind of cool. Let's see what they got. So I don't know if they'll have anything like a recipe. No. But they have some icons here we could use. Let's just go with not seeing anything too fun. But they have quite a few. Let's just call it a recipe. Let's use this little tag thing actually and just do that. So that one is called tag, and it uses F323. Actually, I think it's dash icons tag. And then we go back here and we use that right there. Yep, and it showed up. So we can have that in there. You can do some different images stuff. So here's actually your fields that are in there. So title, editor, featured image. You'll see these in a lot of places. Custom fields is what I was talking about before. If you are using a custom field plugin, you might see author in a lot of things. If you want it to have categories, you can. So we'll just do that. I don't have those in there. All we do is we then add the post type. Hope it works, and there it is. There's my recipes. You could have put just recipes here, and now you have categories of recipes because we've added them in here. You also have add new and all recipes. It's going to really just look like a blog post listing or your page listings. If we wanted to do add new, you'll see this one. A lot of times there'll be a lot more here, but we chose not to add things. So we have a featured image, we have some categories, we have, this would be the information that we would want to put in for this. This is recipe for a cheeseburger. We'll just put that. Okay, and then we'll just put, let's just say cheeseburger recipe. So now this information will be in its own post type. Instead of being in a post when you really want it to be all your recipes set together, that would be now where we have it. And we'll just do a featured image. I'm just going to do that just because that's the stock image I had in here. We'll just publish it. So it's not going to look beautiful in here most likely, but I'll kind of show you. See, this automatically puts right here, it's just this information. This is a recipe because this is how we have it made in the site. You can structure that however you want. You could use coding to do that, to add those things in there. If you have if you have Divi, you could use their theme builder. If you have another one, you may be able to use the theme builder for that. Like, let's just real quick do this, and just because I do use Divi and a lot of stuff I teach is Divi, we're gonna go here and just go to our not post, it'll be down here normally, recipes. So all recipes, let's create a quick template for our recipes. I don't know what I have in my global header, but that's fine. And then we'll add a custom body, build custom body. And now you're just kind of left with, okay, I have nothing here. What do I do with this? You can, let's just say we want the title, the recipe title in there. So in Divi, we easily get this stuff right here. You see this right here, it just automatically adds. But if you don't know, you can actually add this in and put some information about this post here. Sorry, I'm looking through here, trying to figure out where the title is. I believe it's in post archive title, and we will make that title. Let's see. Oh, we want it. Let's just say we wanted an H1. It is kind of a little funky. You got to wrap it with an H1, and then wrap it again. The H1 here to close it. Now we can actually edit it here and there. We can do that. We'll just make it 60. So that's what it would be. We're going to then just put our little image in there we had. Image. And what makes this easier is Divi Machine. If you have it, you can do a lot more cool things with it. They have their own modules for things that you've used in here. We'll just go ahead and again click it here. They have another one of those. That's going to be the featured image for this. Okay, we're just going to make it smaller just so it doesn't look so wacky. We'll just do max width of 500 px, so 500. And then now we will have the actual, I think actually you can do a post content of that. Yeah, I think that will work. And actually, I think there is a better way to do this. Post title, I think actually will work as well. You'll just have to take off the elements. You want to show the title, and that's all we want to show. Because we can do the image our own way. We'll do this again. This is a title, an H1. 60, and I believe this should show on Divi. You always have to save here when you add a new one, just in case you don't know. You add a new one like this, you need to save changes or it will not work. So let's go to our cheeseburger recipe. Let's see if that worked. It did work, though it is a possibility that my header is actually overlaying in there. There it is. So I just have to fix my header. But so if I came back here and actually just show no header on here, it should work fine. Here we go. Yeah, so essentially now every single recipe you make is going to look like this with that text, the text here with that type of text, with the image. Obviously, if you do a bigger image, it's going to be smaller up there. It's going to be higher up on the page because it's not because it's a wide one. So a lot of times you want to use the same types. But let's just go real quick. I'll kind of show you how that works. So now we have my recipes again. We'll just add a new one. This will be fried chicken recipe. Delicious fried chicken. So then all I need to, I could categorize them if I want, but I can set my featured image here. Let's just go, is that that's a kind of square. Let's just go with that fella. We'll publish, and then boom, we'll view our post, and there it is. That was actually a small image, so that's why it is much smaller, but it'll force it to be, how I have it set, it'll force it to be 500 or less. So this is obviously a small one, that's why our footer is actually above. But that is essentially how custom post types work and how they can be very valuable. So like on this, if your customer wanted to have recipes look the same all the time, they would be able to just quickly put in that information. In this case, they just have that, this, and the actual delicious fried chicken, the description. You can add custom fields, which would be I'll do that in a different video, and I would use normally advanced custom fields. They have a good free version. Pods also does. But essentially they work, all these ones work the same way. They're just going to add that code that we kind of talked about here. And they're basically going to start adding code into this stuff, but it's going to be on the back end. They just make it a prettier way to do it, so you can actually do it easily. You don't get too intimidated or frustrated by things not working. They usually just work quite well. You can kind of put them wherever you want, and like I said, that will also depend on it's going to depend on how you want to do this, whether you need some other custom fields or not. These actually can be shown. We don't have them shown, but like a blog post where you can see all the blog posts on one page, there's going to be a page for that. I believe it's actually, if we went to recipe, it would be that there's just nothing showing on there. Oh, it is 404. So we would have to set that in there as well, so that we'd be able to see that. Yeah, it doesn't show it on either one of them, but it can be used for a lot of different things. But like I said, if you're using Divi, go with Divi Machine. That works extremely well. Pods works well if it's not Divi, and you can make these, and you can actually put custom fields in there as well. So hopefully that's helpful, kind of understanding the actual structure of WordPress and how it works, and how you can easily add things to help your clients be able to add info quickly and make it work well. The one other thing, and actually let's see if it'll do it. Let's go to our theme builder again. It may not do this, you may have to have the Divi machine. Let's just take a look. Yeah, you probably do. So I'm not seeing a category page. But if you were to build a page and using that blog post, you may be able to use the blog post with these recipes to list all of them out. But that's a reason that I would go with Divi Machine, because it's a lot easier to do that. They'll have different modules to be able to add that stuff in quite easily to a page that looks really pretty, shows all, say, your recipes in this case, or your websites, depending on what you're building. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And sorry it was such a long video for something that's really not too complicated. It is complicated, but actually to do it is not. And after you wrap your head around it, you'll see the value of it. And yeah, hopefully that helps. Have a great day. Thanks.